I do have a story, though.
All right.
This one is 2019.
All right, let's do it.
Oh, yeah.
Remember a while back, the last episode, a while back, I talked about a megachurch pastor tried to hire a hitman to kill his son-in-law?
I do remember that, yeah.
Well, oddly, I've got a story from May 25th, 2019. Pope Francis said Saturday that abortion was always unacceptable, regardless of whether a fetus is fatally ill or has pathological disorders. But apparently, he also used the word hitman. Is it legitimate to take out a human life to solve a problem? Take out a human life? Wow. Okay. He's talking smack here. All right. Francis asked attendees at a Vatican conference on the issue, repeating one of his most contentious remarks on the issue. Is it permissible to contract a hitman to solve a problem? So, cool. Hitman's getting a lot of free press.
Yeah,
so that video game should be making
when's the next one coming out?
Tons of things. I don't know, man.
No. I think the CIA may be the only point of disagreement on that or whatever. Wow.
Right.
I'm just letting the political comments fly here.
A decision to abort based on medical information about an ill fetus amounted to inhuman eugenics, he said.
Okay, so it said a decision based on what medical information?
Ill fetus. Medical information about an ill fetus amounted to inhuman genetics.
So
as long as you keep it vague, then you can make broad, overarching accusations.
Yeah, you can make broad statements about which, depending on the context or the underlying concepts, reasonable people could have different things to say. But
a short life of indescribable suffering, just fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so unless is that the specific example he's referring to? Because basically I'm backing up what Kevin said, which is that statement is vague enough that it reads in a way that's difficult to directly respond to.
There are medical conditions that a child can be born into that are indescribable suffering.
I know, but I don't know whether he's referring specifically to one of those or just vaguely to the idea that he thinks.
Well, the problem with being vague is that it includes those by its very nature of being vague.
Yeah, I think that was the Pope's
generalized
point. I think he was
generalizing.
being purposely vague, to be honest. I think.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
rhetorical.
He's not an honest actor by any stretch.
It's rhetoric. It's rhetoric.
Wow.
Here, hit us up with the next thing about inhuman genetics.
Let's see. It amounted to inhuman genetics and denied families the chance to welcome the weakest of children. He argued that using abortion as a mode of prevention could never be condoned and that such a position had nothing to do with faith. Human life is sacred and inviolable, and the use of prenatal diagnosis for selective purposes should be discouraged with strength.
Wait, okay, someone can hold any position based on faith. You don't know that?
Yeah, I mean...
You don't know...
True. So, I mean, he's kind of basically saying that people are wanting to opt for abortions because, their baby might be missing an arm or something like that.
Yeah.
Which maybe has happened at some point.
Right. Maybe.
But
I mean,
it also includes, in the vagueness and the generalization, it also includes conditions of unimaginable suffering.
Yes. That falls into that category.
So I guess he's siding with, Mother Teresa in that suffering brings you closer to Jesus. So suffer away, you babies.
I mean, I don't know that he's responding directly to that. But suffering bringing you closer to God is certainly not unique to Mother Teresa.
No.
That was her view. I don't know. The problem is that questions of when you get into abortion and gene editing and things like this is you can say, oh, okay, well, at what point would these things have an effect similar to directed eugenics? I mean, right now we basically have a free market of that. Sorry, my mind immediately goes to an interesting conversation that is somewhat relevant to reality, rather than someone ranting about what their faith tells them is true.
No, I get it. He's basically, he's kind of making a slippery slope argument of, well, you can't allow abortion at all because if you do, where does it end? At first they start with aborting, fetuses or blastocysts or whatever.
He would say babies.
Yeah. So he would say baby, aborting a baby, because it is going to be born with, a condition that is going to make it have a very, very short life that is going to be a very terrible
indescribable
life.
suffering.
Yeah.
So what he's saying is, okay, so if you draw that line, then you're going to end up with
pushing that line.
Pushing that line to, okay, well, the sonogram shows that they're missing a toe. If I don't have a perfect, if I don't have a perfect baby, then fucking start
I'm sorry,
over.
Mrs. Smith, your baby has a hangnail.
Yeah. So we're gonna start over and try again. That's essentially what I got from his comment.
It could be.
Listen, Frank, you don't get to tell other people when they can and can't have abortions. Stop it.
Right. Or the reasons.
Yeah, or the reasons why
that are acceptable.
Yeah. I mean, well, okay.
You can tell the people in your flock, I suppose.
Hey,
they've bought into your bullshit. So
you can give your opinion to people that want it, and expect some response to it. Hey, and you can speak your opinion publicly, but in terms of you thinking that other people should listen to your opinion and take it seriously because Jesus, I find your position entirely lacking of any reasonable support.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I would have a kind of a visceral reaction to if someone I knew said that they were going to have an abortion specifically because of a, solely cosmetic abnormality that is not going to, have a significant adverse effect on their child, assuming everything goes as planned.
Yeah. But, I mean...
you can draw lines with, for good reasons, but he's saying, no, we can't draw lines because this is going to be a slippery slope, and so no abortions for anyone under any circumstances.
Right. And reasons are really irrelevant. I mean...
Wait.
If we look at it from the position of bodily autonomy...
Yeah, you're done.
You're done.
Yeah.
Reasons are irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's whatever the person decrees happens in their own body should be the end of it.
Yes. Sorry. For a split second, I just imagined a patient and a doctor, and the patient saying, "I decree that my decision is about treatment," and it threw me off for a second. You don't own someone else. You don't own their body. You don't have a right to it.
Yeah, the Pope has a bad argument.
Your developing fetus does not own your body.
Take a step back, Frankie boy. Take a look at your life. Look at your choices. Think about it.
He's doing all right.
Well, he does have a palace. So
I just thought it amusing that 2 Hitman stories in...
That's sort of true.
Yeah.
Fetus Hitman, band name Dibs, by the way. So
that's good.
Yeah, Fetus Hitman.